Hello everybody, Denise FARQUHARSON coaching here. It is Summer in Rome, day 16. I hope you're well, I hope you're doing good, and I hope that so far you have been capturing as much from these nuggets of information, inspiration, motivation, aspiration, as much as you can, because Romans chapter 12 has got 21 beautiful, amazing, almost every scripture has got something that is a nugget of deep, deep, deep information. And again, I'm afraid day 16 is going to be one of those where I couldn't decide which bit to choose, because almost every verse is almost, again, giving us 2 or 3 or 4 nuggets of information that are inspiring. So let's see how you get on with this one, okay? So I hope when you join us on replay, just say hashtag replay. Hi Sandra, how you doing? Good. I can see you all straight away now. Yes. And Emma, hi Emma, how are you? Good to see you. And so this particular verse is Romans 12 verse 16. So if you're catching up and haven't quite, in fact you may have missed some, but by all means just go back and pick out the ones that are going to be relative to you. They're going to be relevant to your work, your corporate work, your business area, or for even a friend who you think might be able to get something from this. So just go back and have a look at those. But today, I'm just going to quote this verse for you. It says, "Be of the same mind, one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. Be not wise in your own conceits." So you can see now why there's 3 things going on here. So let me read that again. Be of the same mind. Yeah, so there's a connection going on. Be of the same mind, one toward another. Mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. And be not wise in your own conceits. Now today I labelled this, "Don't be like this, please," because actually I nearly labelled it, "Don't be a snob." But that's an English word that we use, and I know a lot of you from all over different countries will be listening to this. Now in England, when we say don't be a snob, we sometimes use the terminology, and we sometimes use this. We say, a snob is somebody who's like this: hoity-toity, conceited, proud, full of themselves, that type of person. And there are those types of people around all the time. And what this verse is actually saying, part of it is, not all of it, is basically, don't be one of those. It's just not worth it. And conceit is something that's not, it's not great really. It's when somebody is excessively proud of themselves. Now, it's okay to be proud. Do you remember day 2, or I think it might have been day 3, when I talked about pride and just begged you, please don't go over the top with it. Pride is good. Being proud is good. But pride can come before a fall. And so people who are conceited usually have pride and are usually full of themselves. They have an inflated self-image. They highly acclaim everything that they do, even if it's something that you may see as something that's very simple, that's very easy to do. They will take it and turn it into something absolutely amazing. And it's like nobody else in the world has ever done that. Have you ever worked with someone who's like that, or been around someone who's very highly conceited? I can put my hand up to that. Definitely. And it's where they take their accomplishments and they say that, they've excelled in X or Y or Z, or what they do or what they're really good at, their talent and their skills and abilities are blown out of proportion. Yeah, so just put a yes or a no if you've ever worked with someone like that, or been around someone like that. And I'm sure you can probably say that that's probably happened to you as well, as it's happened to me. So very quickly, I want to just give you some tips really on what to do about that. Because the first one says, and don't get me wrong, getting an award or doing well and being excellent at what you do is absolutely, yes, go ahead and do it. Be excellent, apply quality, excel above and beyond every time without fail. I totally agree with that. However, it's when it starts to become snobby, conceited, pride, and you can usually sense it. It's got a horrible feel about it when they speak. It's got a horrible essence and spirit about it. It's just not very nice at all. Okay, so Sandra says, yeah, she knows of someone who's like that. Okay, great. Okay, so so what do you do about it? So one of it can be, you know, sometimes people will say, I went to this school, and then they look at you as if the school that you went to wasn't quite right. Or they'll say, I've got this particular degree, or I've got this particular qualification. And sometimes they'll say something and look at you, and it's kind of like, you know, it's almost like a competition, and it doesn't have to be. And because when we're in the corporate or business world, we are surrounded by people who may well be like that, we've got to have a good way and angle of dealing with it. And we've got to deal with it in love and in the wisdom, which is why the last part of it says, be not wise in your own conceits. Okay, it's asking you to be conscious about what it is that you're thinking and doing when you are around people like that. Okay, and so what do you do? So first one is, if you are one of those people, then the first thing to do, and the answer is actually in the verse, and I'm going to read the verse. If you are one of these people, and that's okay, because sometimes we can get to that point sometimes, and that's various things that cause us to be like that. So it's not a crime, but if you feel that you are like that, let me read that verse again. Be of the same mind, one toward another. That's one of the answers to help you deal with that. Basically, change your thinking. Consider your feelings, how you are, what you're dealing with, and how you think. And if you're, because basically what tends to happen is you feel, think, say, then do. So if you're thinking pride, if you're thinking conceited, and sometimes actually it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's habitual that you will speak up like that and say something like that, that can cause people to just feel, oh, just go away, arrogant, leave me alone. And so what do? You need to be able to connect to that thinking. Watch what you're thinking, connect to it, and enhance your empathy. So if anything, go back to what I did yesterday, where we talked about empathy quite a lot and how to enhance it and make it better so that you have better relations with someone. So if you're listening to this and you're not one of them, but you know someone who is, then you can probably help them with this as well, in terms of ask them to think about how they think and talk to them about how empathetic they are. Because most people who are conceited are not empathetic, and it may be an emotional intelligence competency that they need to invest in and deal with and enhance much better. Another one would be, how do you work with someone who is like this? Okay, now often it depends. Firstly, does it bother you? How much does it bother you? How often does it bother you? So some of you said it earlier, I think you did say you do work with some people who are like this. So does it bother you? How much does it bother you? How often does it bother you? Now, if that's kind of not much, then actually leave it alone. Just stay away from it. Don't let it bother you. Leave it be. That's one way of dealing with it. Another way is actually, how does it make you feel? So if the person who's being conceited and showing all that pride and arrogance, if it's making you feel irritated, jealous, bordering towards being arrogant as well, or it's a kind of making you feel angry. Now, how does it make you guys feel? Those of you who know you've experienced this, write down there. If you know people who are around you who are like it, how does it make you feel? Yeah, because by looking at it from that perspective, you sometimes have to sense the emotion that you are feeling, and you're going to have to deal with that emotion accordingly. So if it's jealousy, you're going to have to deal with a jealous emotion. If you're feeling angry, you're going to have to deal with your angry emotion. Even before you deal with them, you've got to deal with yourself. Sorry. You know I tell you the truth, okay? And then the last one is, if it's overbearing, just too much, you just can't handle it, it's just way above your head and it annoys you every time, the best way to deal with it is actually just be totally direct and set your boundaries. I.e., if you're in a meeting with them, then let them know how long you'll be, get out quick. If it's on the phone, stick to the conversation, the work conversation, and let them know that's it, you're gone, okay? Because otherwise, if you if you're indirect, hold back, you start to get emotional, and then you allow your boundaries to be crossed. And you don't want that, because that's just a whole different thing altogether that can happen, all right? So think about, first of all, if I'm one, what do I do? If I know, so think about your thinking and your feeling. If you know of someone, but it doesn't bother you too much, just get on with it. And if it's too much for you and it's too overbearing, then actually you need to set some boundaries and be very direct in how you deal with that arrogance and how you deal with that pride and how you deal with that conceitedness. Conceit. Okay. What we've got here, I tend to ignore them, otherwise you will bring into an emotion. Yes, absolutely. And because if you don't, yeah, you're right. If you ignore them, then you're protecting yourself. Again, that's another boundary that you are putting around yourself to protect the way that you're feeling and thinking and so on when you're surrounded by them. So let me just repeat that verse again. Be of the same mind, one toward another. That's the first bit. So just type in below, if this relates to you or someone you know, just give me one quick action that you think you can do to address this yourself. What could you do? Just type it in before we go. So be of the same mind, one toward another. Mind not high things. Okay. So even us as corporate Christian women should not mind high things, not be focused on the things that are actually drawing us away from our focus, drawing us away from our actual vision of what we are supposed to be doing. And we shouldn't be minding things that are causing us potentially to be conceited and to be full of pride. That's just one thing that's just, it's not where we should be. Okay. So mind not high things, but condescend to men of low estate. So consider others, consider those who are, sometimes they call it, lower class, upper class, middle class, those who are poorer, those who are less wealthy. Consider all, because all are God's kids, all are God's children. We should love every neighbour as ourselves. So we shouldn't be picking out who and who we should not. So be not wise in your own conceits. All right. So I hope this has helped you. Day 16, it's another sort of deeper, meaningful thinking. And sorry to have to do that to you on a Sunday afternoon, but I've got to stay in line, okay? We have got 5 more to go. Starting from Monday, we're going to finish on Friday. It has flown by. 21 days of summer in Rome. So let me know if there's anything else that you need from this particular session. Put #replay, and if you're watching this on replay, and let me know, do you work with someone who's like this? Are you like this? Has this helped? Is there any particular thought that you probably need to get rid of? Because sometimes we can become conceited if we're not careful, because something might happen in our life which is an amazing thing. We might get an extra special blessing of something, a degree or a qualification, and we're just so excited about it, but then that can turn over into pride if we're not careful. So tell me, would that cause you to be conceited? It could. So just watch that, draw back, monitor your thinking, monitor your feeling, careful how you are around others, set your boundaries, be direct if you need to be. Got a comment here. I make sure that contingencies in place just in case the person tries to take over the meeting so that they become aware of others. It's a massive piece of emotional intelligence, Sandra. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes people just aren't aware. Remember, emotional intelligence is about regulating and recognizing. Some people regulate, some people recognize, some can't do both. But the key thing is to manage both in how they are with others. Great. Okay, so I hope that's really, really helped you. Catch me on day 17 tomorrow for Summer in Rome. Take care. Share this with anybody that you think would be benefiting it. And all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.